Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Zvezda, and box barely fits into the frame, but you can notice that this is a Mi-24P in 1/48 scale, so it's a new version of the Soviet attack helicopter, and we have a commercial sample which was bought with your help, with your donations, and I'm really thankful for this. So now we get a chance to check this fresh release of the new version of the famous crocodile, and this is a kit number 4812. You can see we have a beautiful box art here, and just to give you an idea about the size of this box, here is comparison with my hand. So when I am saying that it's really big, it is really big, and I would say it's one of the biggest box which you would see from Zvezda. And now we are going to open it. Surprisingly, it is quite, I would say, light. Here you can see also some information about the manufacturer. We have marking options for 4 different countries, you can see it here, and also we have a small note on the paints you'll need for such build. Next, on the opposite side, you can see some other kits from this brand. Some of them were reviewed by us, so if you would like to check them, for example this Su-50, Su-57, so you can find it easily on our YouTube channel. And now here on the rear side you can see also pictures of the assembled and painted model, and this is a 1/48 scale kit, so do not be surprised that the length equals to 44.7 centimeters. It's quite impressive, and we have 326 parts, which is, I would say, more or less reasonable amount for such scale. So now we are going to open it, but you can notice that everything is sealed with this tape, so I'm going to cut through it, and then we gradually will check everything one by one. So just give me a second to get the knife, and I will cut through this. So as I was saying, this kit was purchased with help of your donations, and that's actually really great thing that you helped us to buy this kit, because otherwise we wouldn't have a chance to get it somehow for the review. And if you would like to support us with a donation, once again there is a special donate button on our website, so just press it and you will be redirected to the PayPal gate, where you will be actually choosing how much you would like to send us via PayPal. So what I'm now trying to do is to open this box, because yeah, now I opened it. What they did, they glued this part under the tape, so that's why it's really difficult to pick it out, but now it's open. And there again we have some other pictures of different models in 1/48 scale, but now we open them again. By the way, here you can see the small bill for this model. Okay, so what do we have inside? We have all the frames separated into 2 plastic bags. That's the safety note. I guess it's not interesting for us. Clear frame is packed into the separate Ziploc bag, so we are going to start with it, and then gradually we will move on to other components. So just give me a second, because it's a really large box. It's a bit tricky to move it around, but I guess we will place it like this. Okay, now it should be good. So first we start with the Ziploc bag, which is dedicated to clear parts. And here it's easy to guess, we have canopy elements. So here it is. And let's maybe move this aside, zoom in, maybe move the mat a bit so that it will be straight. Okay, now you should be able to see that here we have canopy parts, as I said, and you can replicate this canopy in open position, which is really great because it's a 1/48 scale, so it would be a shame to get a closed canopy out of the box. Parts look really good, but there are no masks included, so if you would like to cover them in a proper way and get really nice paint finish, it's better to get some aftermarket set, maybe from Edward, because it will speed up the whole process, and of course it will give you a bit more precise finish on your model. Now I'm opening first large plastic bag, so just give me a moment. I need to take out all the frames, and we will start checking them one by one. So first of all, here we have fuselage house, so I would like to zoom out a bit more. And now you can see that here we have these two parts molded together with the tail section, but obviously the nose section is molded separately because it's mainly built out of clear parts. And of course the lower section will be gray plastic. Here you can see comparison with my hand, and do not forget that this is not a full fuselage section. And now we can zoom in as much as we can, so that here you can see these recessed panel lines, which look quite fine for 1/48 scale. So in my opinion, they should be okay under several layers of paint and primer, but still I would not recommend to risk it by applying really thick layers. Note that there are various hatches and doors molded separately, which is also quite useful in 1/48 scale. We have some internal guiding elements. So frankly speaking, I'm not sure how they will be used for the interior, so we will have to check it in assembly manual, but we have guiding pins here and there, so it will be a bit easier to combine these large parts together. Okay, next we continue with this gray plastic sprue. So here we have mix of various parts. First of all, we have interior parts, as you can notice. Note that also landing gear wheels, they should be glued out of 2H, so I would rather recommend to get some resin replacement so that this appearance will be a bit more realistic. But I'm not saying that they're bad, but if you want to build a 1/48 scale helicopter with a nice features, it's better to invest some money into this thing. And here we continue with a zoomed in view, so you can notice that some parts are molded on really thin attachment points, so it will be easy to separate them. Well, I'm a bit confused because I was trying to understand how these hatches will go, so I guess they will be openable. I mean, you can glue them in an open position, but we will have to consult with assembly manual in order to understand how this can be used in the kit. And also here on the landing gear wheels you can see that we have raised tab, which will be acting as a guiding element, which is also quite cool in case you don't want to spend extra money, you would like to use these parts. They should be fine for out-of-the-box build, but this is definitely a no-go for the bit more sophisticated project. Next we have some parts for the nose section and for the cockpit, so here we can zoom in a bit so that you can see more. And again, as I said, this chin panel, it is molded as a single piece part. We have some parts for the nose landing gear wheel well. Also we have pilot seats here, but again we can zoom in, and here you can take a look at this part. So note also this large machine gun barrel, it looks really impressive. Well, it's cannon bar, but still. And again, attachment points are really thin, so it should be easy to work with these parts. I do not see any flash here. Everything looks clean and crisp, so it's just a matter of careful separation and painting them into the proper shade. But it's really cool that we have the lower section molded as a single piece part. It means you won't have to worry about any noticeable gaps or seams in this area. Next, we also have some parts for the engine, so I will place this sprue here. Let's zoom in a bit. Now you can see it. So we have parts for both engines, and we also have some parts for the landing gear, as far as you can see, air intakes, and some interior elements. So let's zoom in again. Here you can take a closer look at the parts of this helicopter. Of course, engine can benefit from the PE, so if you would like to spend some extra money, get a photo etch set, apply it on your model, and you would be surprised with the final result. Because as you can see, wiring is not replicated on these engine parts, so if you plan to expose it somehow on your model, it's a good idea to invest a bit more into some aftermarket set from Edward, so that you will get a bit more convincing appearance. And here you can take a look at the opposite side of these parts, and I'm going to open this next plastic bag with two sprues, so just give me a second. Okay, so these sprues are also quite big, and I will show them right now. As you can guess, one of them is replicated or dedicated to pylons or wings, and also to the rotor blades. You can see that rotor blades feature this slight sag, which is really cool because it will look a bit more realistic. Here you can take a look from the side. And now I suggest we zoom in as much as we can. Maybe we go to this corner. So here you can see some parts for the tail surfaces. We also have some parts for the main rotor. Note also this tail rotor, which is molded as a single piece part with blades. Next we continue with wings. Here, by the way, here you can see pilot figures, which is really cool because we get them as a, let's say, free bonus, so you don't have to pay extra and you can use them in your build. Next, we continue with various parts for the fuselage. And again, everything looks cool, but it's really surprising that this propeller or rotor blades, not the propeller blades, but they have this sag, which is usually not that often replicated in the helicopter kits. And one more plastic sprue, so just give me a second. Again, it's easy to understand that the last gray plastic frame is dedicated to the armament and also external equipment or ordnance. So here we have missile launchers, we also have bombs from what I can see. Oh, it's not bombs, it's few tanks. And also we have external machine guns. As far as I remember, they were also installed on the Mi-24. So let's zoom in a bit. Now you can see here these parts. So everything looks cool, and I'm really thankful that Zvezda decided to include all this stuff out of the box. You don't have to pay extra. Everything is included into the standard package, so you get a chance to, let's say, pack your helicopter with some extra stuff on the pylons and wings. It won't be empty. You don't have to buy anything extra, but you can spend a bit more on some resin replacement if you are not satisfied with what you get here. Obviously, resin will be way more detailed, but it will cost you some extra money, so it's not the solution for everybody. Next, we have one more plastic bag. This one is dedicated to Decals Sheets. And yes, there are 2 Decals Sheets. And here they are. So, here we have to zoom in first, then close the camera so that you can see what is actually printed here. And printing quality is really nice. As you remember, we have marking options for 4 different countries. We even have decals for the interior or for the cockpit, so that's also cool. And I can zoom in even further, so you can take a closer look at these symbols, which are really nice. We have stencils included on the separate decals sheet. So for 1/48 scale, it's more than enough for a convincing appearance in the assembled state. Next, we have assembly manual. So, well, not the assembly manual. Let's check first the marking guide, because here we have quite a lot of marking options from what I can see. So here, for example, you can see, let's zoom out a bit. So that's the first marking option, and we have also colors chart on the bottom. But that's not all, because if we flip it over here, you can see 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th marking option. These black marking options are quite interesting, so it might be a good choice to replicate in the scale, but obviously the final decision is after you. And of course it's nice to have this marking guide manual in color, not as black and white as this assembly manual. So as usual for Zvezda, assembly manual comes in black and white print. You can also see here the assembly options. So basically you can open the engine hatches, you can open cockpit, you can also open this main hatch for the transport bay. Next we continue with the parts map. Assembly process starts surprisingly with figures, I guess because they will be placed in the helicopter, but obviously nobody makes you using them, so if you don't want to install any pilots in the cockpit, you can leave them aside. Next we continue with the engine, and let's flip it over. So here we work on the main engine parts, which will be installed on the top. As you can see, it's, let's call it a sub-assembly, where we combine the nose section together with the main section and the nose, actually top area, we assembled both engines. We install various subframes into this spot, and next here you can see two assembly options. So as I said, you can open this hatch on your model if you would like to, and then it would be a wise idea to work on the internals, because otherwise it would be a bit strange to see a plain space inside, so maybe some weathering will do. Next we continue by joining fuselage halves together. Here you install also this chin panel, which was molded separately, as you remember. And we continue with nose panels, so they are glued from both sides. Here you install the tail wings and the tail rotor. Here is the another fuselage section. Note that wings should be glued out of two halves. And next we continue with clear canopy parts. So again, here you have to decide whether you would like to open the canopy or you would like to keep it closed. And what is next? Landing gear. Together with landing gear legs, external fuel tanks and missile launchers. Also some tail section accessories, let's say. Next here we install some special parts. It will depend on the marking option you choose, so pay attention to this and decide on the marking option in advance so that you won't have to think later. Next we continue with some parts for the main rotor, and here, by the way, you can see this special, I guess these ones are used in order to hide the exhaust fumes and the temperature from the outside. Correct me if I'm wrong, maybe it's used for the night version. But next we continue with the main rotor, also with the tail rotor. All this stuff gets installed into the place. And of course we have a stencils application guide so that you know where to apply all these tiny writings on your Mi-24. So this kit should be already available because I bought it myself with help of your donations, and in my opinion this is really great kit for modelers who would like to build a Soviet helicopter in 1/48 scale. And of course there is a good potential for some super detailing. Of course I'll be happy to hear your opinion about such release here in the comment section below. If you like this video, do not forget to press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye!